Hey folks, today I'm going to test and show you every manual method of uncapping honey. We're going to go through all these little tools, including two styles of scratchers. We're going to go from cheapest to most expensive product. So these run depending on if you buy one or three, but we'll say $5. Up next will be a cold knife, which is about $7. A roller, which is, these run about $15. And then a heat gun for melting the cappings. We're into electric now. Those around $15–20. Electric hot knife, this is a Pierce. These are expensive. These are adjustable, so you can adjust the temperature. This particular one is at probably, I think I priced a Pierce hot knife for about $175. And then finally is a Maxant honey plane. It's topping out over $200. So I'm going to show you the speed at which you can use these items, how well they work, and if they're going to cause problems, cause you more time with clogging up either themselves or your filters. So anyway, we'll get to it. Okay, up first is our tried and true traditional capping scratcher. Now I'm going to be doing this left-handed. Luckily I'm fairly ambidextrous, but you use these tools. Some people use them for full uncapping, but I use them pretty much exclusively for getting low spots where my power uncapper does not work. So you come in at a pretty significant angle and you just pull it down. And I normally run 2 swipes to make sure that I've got all the cappings. And so we'll do half the frame with this style, and then we'll do half with the other style. So this is the new style, and the other one uses your thumb. You come in and use your thumb, it's pretty comfortable. This thing I am just not impressed with, because you have to come at such a strange angle. If you do it this way, you're just running right 90 degrees over and you're digging in. So I'll flip this frame over upside down and we'll see if we can't show it. The idea is it's supposed to kind of glide and cut, but I said I prefer the straight. This just is more work than the other, and I can't really see how well I'm doing, especially up here at the top. I got a couple of sails that have to be pierced. So these work great. This I don't care for at all. All right, we'll flip over to the other side and we'll show the cheap man's way, which is this guy right here, which is just a serrated knife. And you can use any serrated knife. This is my actual you see the serrated knife, the cold knife works good. As long as it's a serrated blade, you tend to have pretty good luck with it. Now what I don't like about a serrated blade is that It's not quite as effective as a hot knife, but it's definitely more efficient than trying to use, say, the scratcher. And last, on the manual tools, we have the roller. And let me make sure I got this in frame. The roller, supposedly, that's done. The problem is, if you got a low spot or whatever, you can't really tell. So I tend to wind up going twice over it, and you see I may have some missed cells over there. So the problem is, you wind up going to where you can really tell. Now you know you've got, it's all done. The rollers, they work okay. The problem is they clog up, and once they clog up, they just make a mess. As soon as you start picking up cappings with them, they are just a terror. That I don't, and I don't like that it's not easily identifiable whether you've got the comb uncapped or not. So they're a pain to clean. And yeah, this is probably my least favorite tool of all of them, is this roller. Because, like I said, they work, but I think you'd be better off with, now this is, like I said, this is I use for cut comb, so it's not quite long enough. A longer serrated fillet knife is what you want to use if you're going to go with the manual route. All right, folks, a beekeeper friend explained to me how this strange tool works, because I've been doing this for 25 years. I hadn't seen this particular style of a scratcher, because it's not really a scratcher. So the way this thing is designed to work is you're supposed to go in underneath, just underneath the cappings, and kind of pierce the cells and then lift up. So compared to the traditional scratcher, this is going to be a lot slower. The advantage to using this is that you actually lift and remove the cappings entirely, so they won't clog up your filters as bad. Anyway, sorry I was not able in the demonstration video to properly demonstrate how this tool works. But anyway, I wanted to make sure you guys got an update on how this strange little tool works. It's not particularly, in that fashion, it's still not particularly comfortable to use, I don't find. I just can't seem to find a position that actually I think would be comfortable to use this tool. Alright, first up on the electric is going to be our heat gun, which you want to use that on the high setting, and we'll do a full frame so you guys can see time-wise comparison. So as that cools, the problem with the heat gun is that some of the cells melted and the wax got out of the way, and some of the cells actually recapped themselves. So whether or not that will come out, like right here, that's completely covered, but the wax may be thin enough to sling out. I don't know. We'll hit it another time just to make sure. Not a bad idea. The real advantage of this, you know, it's pretty clean. You're not getting honey everywhere. You're not getting honey on the tool. But anyway, it is what it is. Okay, up next is this Purico hot knife. It has an adjustment right here, that little tiny screw that I'm pointing my finger at. Teeny tiny. The nice thing about these, you can keep them plugged in. I normally park this in a bowl, and it won't really burn the honey. You can see if I can do this and not hide the frame. A lot of people have problems with these hot knives because they go at them at the wrong angle. So what you want to do is you want to come in and back and forth, and just like a jigsaw blade, just come around and do it like so. And the nice thing with that, you see the cappings just rolled right off. Unlike a cold knife, this gets your cappings out of the way because you're going at it at an angle that automatically separates the cappings from your frame. We'll flip it over and I'll show you the other side. So obviously that is way faster than any method we've done before. Now I've got a little bit of low comb right there, and I'm just dragging the knife to make sure I get all that low comb, just cut the cappings right there. So the big advantage to this hot knife and the hot knives in general is it does not produce cappings in your honey that will clog your filters. That scratcher right there will really clog up anything that scratches or pierces the wheel. Anything that doesn't cut the cappings off and separate them clean produces small bits of wax that just wreck your filters. So you'll spend so much more time cleaning your filters and changing those out. Okay, and last we have the honey plane, which works very differently than all the other tools. It also operates at a much higher temperature. Instead of sawing, the honey is removed with basically just one simple straight motion, just like so. And see, I had a little bit of low spot. You can go back in and take that off. The honey plane is it's so much faster than the knife. Let's see if we can't do this side over here. And the nice thing about the honey plane is, while the plane is kind of heavy, it's just kind of glides, and it's less work on your wrist because instead you're using your elbow and shoulder a little bit more than trying to push down with the knife. Instead, you're just kind of holding and dragging. Let me do another frame. Can you give me another frame? This one. There's a crack. Let's flip it, get this inside here. All right, and you can see maybe a little bit, that sucker's starting to smoke a little bit. When I say it runs hotter, it really does run hotter. I'm going to do this in two pulls just to show you you can use this for deep frames. It's much easier to run deeps with this than it is, say, the hot knife. Now, the downside of this thing is you really need a horizontal or at least a 45-degree platform to put your frames on. So that's the serious downside. So if you're working off of a bucket, or say your standard uncapping tabletop unit, you'll need a little bit of modification. You'll need to build something so that you can lay your frames out flat. But other than that, for higher production, this is much faster and is less fatiguing on the wrist. You do have to dump the cappings, but that's really not a big deal. They fall right out. So anyway, as far as what I like, other than, you know, a power uncapper, a hot knife uncapper, I think for production, if you're doing, say, 1,000 pounds of honey, then you can probably get away with a hot knife. If you're doing more than 1,000 and you don't want to invest in a power uncapper, then I'd say a hot plane is probably a wise investment. Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Please like and subscribe.